guys? Welcome back to another episode of Lucid Daily, and today we have a brief topic that I want to talk about and just kind of give an intro into this topic because I actually do feel relatively passionate about it, and I think it is important as investors that we talk about it. But first off, I apologize for the late video tonight. I'm packing for a big trip, so stay tuned for all of that. I should have quite a bit of time to do some good research this weekend, and hopefully I can get you guys some higher quality production as well as some higher quality value, because that's what I really want to work on, is making sure that you guys get as much value on a daily basis from Lucid as possible, and the industry. It's important to understand the industry. So first off, there is Lucid was down 3% today, so the broader market had a sell-off today. It's probably more than likely leading into CPI day. We're getting the CPI data tomorrow morning at 5:30 Pacific time, so have your Twitter notifications on if you want. Follow me at McKay Thomason, capital M, capital T, and stay up to date with me there. But regarding that, that's pretty much the reason why most of the indices were finished red today, as well as why Lucid probably finished red. It's a risk off going into the CPI data, which I don't blame them. I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty red day. Inflation is just way too high. Anything in the 8s is still unacceptable. So hopefully we can get that headline number down a little bit. So the thing that I want to talk about, and this is just going to be a super surface level pass on it tonight, and I want to hear what you guys think in the comments, and I'll put some of your comments together, and I'll give that some thought into my next video, either tomorrow or later this weekend, regarding the topic. So the thing that's going around, the Wall Street Journal published an article on it, and we'll go through the article tomorrow together. I'll highlight it and we'll go through it. But the basic topic is the fact that Lucid and Rivian's CEOs were both paid more in stock compensation than the company actually made in revenue. Now, actually on Saturday, I did the math, and both of them own about 1% or less of the company, which is pretty, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of things that I really like about Lucid, but there's also some things that I think Lucid could work on. And this is an issue that the stock-based, this one-time thing, it's whatever, but what I wish could be better about it is, I want to be fair, this is my personal opinion. I wish we could have CEOs that had a larger equities in the company, that would be able to feel more incentivized as a company. Who would you rather have, a CEO that owns 17% of the company or a CEO that owns 1% of the company? And again, there's a lot of great things about Lucid, but that's just one of the things that I wish I could change, that I don't necessarily think will change. The fact, one of the other things that I've seen on Twitter is the fact that Saudi Arabia owns more of the company than the CEO does, and there's a lot of talk about that. But with Saudi Arabia, I understand that they had to get a lot of money from them to get this company off the ground, but I just wish that, for example, Peter Rawlinson had a larger stake in the company, just to make it more incentivizing for him. Because if you only own 1% of the company and he's got paid $400 million, this is going to be a little bit. Elon talked about, he says that starting a company is like chewing glass and staring into the abyss, and it's taken me a long time to really understand what he meant by that. And I still don't know if I have some side hustles, but I've never really launched a full-on corporation like Elon has done multiple times. So that it's difficult to me to completely empathize with that. But having Elon chew glass and stare into the abyss for 17% of his company, it has become his baby. And that company, he's had to go through the worst days of his life with it, and he's built it into the incredible company it is today. My question is, would that have happened had he owned 1% of the company? And that's probably my biggest frustration with Lucid as an investor. I still think the company has a lot, I'm not selling my position or anything, but it's just something that I do think about. And I do like to claim myself as Lucid's harshest critic, but also one of their biggest cheerleaders, is I wish we had a CEO that had more equity in the company. Not necessarily he's entitled to it, but I wish that he would be more like Elon owns 17% of Tesla still. I wish Peter owned 5, 10, 15, 20% of the company, but obviously that's not the reality. So now it's just kind of as an investor, how do I justify that? So that's what I'll be working on. I'll be reading all these articles that have been published, and I'll be taking all the information that they give and the ideas they give. And I really do want to hear you guys' opinion in the comments. Maybe I'm way off in the weeds again. That 1%, I'll get you guys the exact number this weekend about how much Peter Rawlinson owns of the company currently, and maybe a little bit more than 1%, but not much more than that. So that was a little bit of a rant, but that is something that I do feel it is relatively important, is having a CEO that's all in on the company. Not necessarily like all in, like 100% of equity, but that has a significant equity stake. Like, I don't know if Tesla would have survived if Elon only had 1%. Like, what is it worth to him? And when you get a pay package of $400 million, it's like, yeah, we're gonna like try as hard as we can, but at the end of the day, I know I'm taken care of. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's an interesting discussion, and I would love to have this video just filled with comments about your guys' opinion, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and how you justify in how you, when somebody says like, hey, why would you invest into Lucid? They only have, like, their CEO only owns 1% of the company. What do you guys say to that? Like, I would love to hear you guys' response. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. And again, I will try as hard as I can to provide a better production and a better quality in terms of value in the coming days. I've just been packing and getting everything ready and getting very little sleep. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening, and hopefully we have some good news from CPI data tomorrow. I wouldn't be too hopeful. I would just understand that tomorrow's gonna be a red day like we've seen lately. So at first I thought this was going to be the first sign that we were going to see a big deflection in CPI, in deflation, but in reality it may be, I think it'll be relatively flat. If we miss expectations and it's high, that's going to be painful. I just think all of 2022 is going to be painful, the first half of 2000, and probably the first half of 2023. So now's the time to just accumulate as many shares of the companies that you love and do as much research. This is a great time to do research. I've learned, like, I know, like, most of you guys seem to like them, but like when you make spreadsheets about a company, you learn so much about what goes on in the company, where all the money's going, and everything that revolves around the fundamentals, how many outstanding shares, what's a good PE, how many cars are produced, what's their average selling price, and just practicing doing that. So I encourage everybody that now is a good time to do research into these companies and allocate money where you really believe the future is headed. And if you don't like picking individual companies and you just love index funds, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm about 15% into index funds, and then the rest is individual companies. And I would like to open my allocation more to index funds. I don't know. It's interesting because whenever I say that, I'm like, nah, I like picking individual companies. I think it's fun. So that's my thoughts. I hope you guys have a fantastic night, and consider subscribing if you haven't yet. And if you guys want to support the channel, other than watching these videos, which I really appreciate, if you want to support the channel, click the join button down below, become a member, and we can start doing members only live chats, members only comments, whatever you guys want to do, I'm open to. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.